Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome on into the swear word. I'm your host, Brandon Swear, and hey, this is a podcast for the chili community by the chili community. Regardless of your spice tolerance, this is the place for you. Up tonight, we have an amazing episode here. We have a challenge locked and loaded for Hot or Not, as well as an amazing guest ready to go and a very fun game plan. So, episode 152 starts now. What's going on, Swear Nation? So glad to have everyone here, whether you're tuning in on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, or Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for being here and continue to make this podcast what it is. If you have just recently checked out the podcast and it's your first time, thank you for being here. And all those day one OGs that have been rocking and rolling, thank y'all so much for making Swear Nation this amazing place. Also, want to say, hey, we have a fun challenge that is going to be here featured on Hot or Not. Now, this challenge is not open to the public or readily available in that sense, but it's still a fun glimpse into what you can kind of expect as you start to get into more of these chili head challenges. So, with that being said, we also have a very great guest here. We have Bruce Smith. He is a part of the Primo Wrecking Crew, as well as an avid member and heavy contributor into the overall Capsaicin crew. So honored to have him here and dive into his overall chili head journey and all the great avenues and twists and fun tips that he has planned for us here. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump on over to Hot or Not. What's going on? Welcome on into Hot or Not. As I had mentioned into the intro, this here tonight is going to be a challenge. This is a chili head challenge that is not necessarily readily available for everyone to grab or up for sale. So this is just going to be a fun glimpse into some of these chili head challenges that are out there, and it's going to be an absolute fun one. This one here is from Bruce Smith. This is from Bears in Space, Space Force Edition. So looking forward to jumping on into these, but let's check out tonight's product. All right, here we go. Just going to open the bag. We're going to get a good whiff. Smells good. Get a napkin. I'm going to put these 4 out here so I'm not fighting with the bag. Let's get that timer ready. Cheers. Nice consistency. I do like the way they break up really smooth. That was Bears in Space. Oh, man. Bears in Space, nice heat overall. Great flavor, almost like a blue raspberry, maybe. I don't know. It's weird. It's nice. It's strange in the sense that I wasn't expecting that flavor, but overall, great taste throughout. I don't know. Can't tell what tincture might be used in that, but definitely enjoyable. First minute is almost up. I'm going to go ahead and get these out as I get ready to do the next one. All right, next up, let's run it back. And this is the Cryogenic Meltdown for round number 2. Beautiful, great taste. Definitely hotter. That one is really attacking the sides of the mouth pretty good. Feeling it more towards the back of the throat now, but the side that I was chewing on more so, that side obviously got a lot more loving going on. Now the last one here, this is the atmospheric re-entry. Go ahead and count these 4 out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Looks like I got 3 left in there, so fun times for later. What? Cheers. Number 1. So atmospheric re-entry, definitely extremely hot right out the gate. Second of all, amazing flavor, but you can tell this one's ramping up good. My whole face is starting to feel nice and sweaty. It's a little bit sweaty, but all in all, phenomenal flavor. Love the overall burn on this. Very nice. It looks like basically I have enough for like a partial challenge. So I'll probably enjoy those at my leisure as well. I think that would be phenomenal to just snack on. The Bears in Space atmospheric reentry is definitely peppering the throat pretty good right now. So there's that. Let's go ahead and do the 5-minute countdown for the afterburn and start that there. Boom. Man, oh man, I can feel that just absolutely full on assault in the back of the throat. It's now starting to feel the compounding effect. I see why this afterburn is here. That is the Angry Bears in Space Trio Challenge as this is winding down. As far as flavor, I love the original, just the Bears in Space. I think the atmospheric reentry had that delayed heat and that cryogenic meltdown was that faster pop. So all three of these definitely are hitting in a very unique way. So I see why this is split out in separate ways. I do love the freeze dry aspect to these gummy bears. Makes it much more easy to chew, really kind of break down smoothly, so you don't have to worry about really it not being chewed up enough, pulverized enough. But deep chest burn right now. Absolutely feeling it nice and warm right there in the center of the chest. It is absolutely enraging. I can start to feel it now, start to travel a little bit down towards the gut. But all in all, still flogging the mouth nice and good and back to the throat. If I had to take a guess right now with the way my tolerance is, not probably the highest that it's been, but not the lowest it's ever been either. I would say that this is definitely taking me for a ride right now. I can feel it. Oh, this is going to be a big gut bomb. It's already like churning just down low. I can feel it. Not quite opening the sinuses, but just a massive gut punch. I mean, it's as if I'm just sitting here with my hands up, just getting pelted in the stomach with a baseball bat. Beautiful cup coaster here that I keep at the desk now. So thank you so much for that. This has been a great burn. Throat is just warm as can be. Face feeling a little bit flush at this point, but just riding this one out. Whoa, hope everyone's doing good. But there's the challenge. Absolutely amazing. Great burn there, Bruce. Thank you so much for that. Let's go ahead and jump on over to tonight's episode. Hey, Bruce, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. Glad to have you here. Obviously, had the pleasure of getting to know you ever since my journey really into Cap Crew. And from there, just evolving, seeing your involvement in things like the Primo Wrecking Crew, just burning up other chili heads in general and having fun along the way.
Yeah, it's been a fun time, and this is I think this has been in the works for a while. I think took me about 6 months to to secure a time to meet with you, but yeah.
Yeah, no worries there. It's always a little bit of a dance to kind of get everything to line up. That's just one thing that I've quickly learned while doing the podcast is try to meet people where they're at instead of like asking everything of them. So kind of give a little bit more or tried to give a little bit more option aspects. So hopefully that kind of helps everyone else going forward in the future. But one thing I always like to start out with, which is obviously what got you into the world of hot and what was the moment that you decided to start growing peppers and making fun challenges?
So I never really did like spicy stuff growing up. There's a pretty extensive story about that. But when I really started to get into hot stuff was when I was working in IT before I was in ministry. And the company I was working for moved me out to Lincoln, Nebraska. And in Lincoln, Nebraska, just outside town, there was this place called Skeeter Barnes. It was a barbecue restaurant. So we ate there. It was kind of like we went out to check out places to live, that kind of thing. We ate there one evening. They had ribs. They had these three different bottles of sauce, unlabeled, just three different. You could tell the bottles were different. So one was mild, one was medium, one was hot. And I was trying them, and they were delicious. And I got the hot one, and I asked the server, "You got anything hotter?" And they brought out a homemade habanero sauce from the back, and so that hooked me. I mean, my teeth hurt as I was eating my supper, and it was just an enjoyable thing. So I grew habaneros not terribly long after that, and that's kind of where I stayed with it, was kind of habanero heat. But once I got a little further um, into the years, I did find a source for some Carolina Reaper seeds. So I tried to grow a couple plants of those. Scorpion peppers, tried to grow a couple plants of those. But then out here, it kind of grew. So where I am now, I've got a pretty decent sized plot for a garden, and I keep on tilling in, 3, 4, 5 feet every year to add more stuff. So, but that's really what got me into it, was Skeeter Barnes, probably like a mango habanero barbecue sauce.
Very nice. It's always fun to be able to see and really kind of get a good glimpse into other people's step in to the whole, spicy side of the world, because everyone has a different story. You'll have those that are like very much how mine was, where it was like a early on exposure to a jalapeno. Or, you have those others that just find a sauce that finally catches them off guard one day, maybe that was never even on their radar. And it's always fun to see that spark happen, that aha moment, and then that passion just ignite inside. It's a lot of fun. And speaking of, really kind of the congregation aspect of it all, it's been even a great pivotal talking point within my own church. I know now, granted, majority of everyone there knows if I bring anything that they should probably send in the bravest first, or just be hesitant to even accept it, which has kind of landed it to where I've been the honorary chili judge for the last year or so. It's been a lot of fun, but needless to say, they don't ask me to bring chili anymore.
Yeah, I when I bring something for a potluck, I have to label it, and if it's hot, I label it and I warn folks. I do take part in a chili making competition every year around Veterans Day. It's it's run by a veteran, and there's a good number of veterans there. But it's just kind of a celebration with that, and I've told them every year I'm going to bring it hot, and so just so you know that. Well, a first or second year I did it, I brought, and I mean hot. It was hot, and I brought it, and there was somebody who really likes hot stuff, so that's the one she went to first, and she ate some, and you're just doing by the spoonful to begin with, so you can judge and score and that kind of thing. She like made a beeline for her parents and said, "Do not touch that chili." "Don't touch it." And then she started telling everybody, "Don't eat the chili, don't eat the chili." So I was
Well,
going to bring it hot. I mean,
yeah. I mean, what does she expect if she's going to go for the one that's labeled hottest? That's funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's very similar to what goes on. It always seems to be there's so many people that are curious and interested in like the idea of bringing some homemade salsa, but then they'll try that for a little bit, but what they don't realize is like, sure, I may not just throw a whole bunch of super hots or anything in there, but I do layer it to where the flavor is so much more enticing than the burn. So by the time that you're a hearty amount in, you're really starting to feel that burn settle in the chest, and you're just like, okay, your average person's going, this is way too much. What did I just get into?
yeah.
But
Yeah, the layers of the flavors is really key, and that's one of the reasons why I grow what I grow. I grow for heat, I grow for taste, and a lot of times when you put the two together, you've got a build going on. So it's not just a smack you in the mouth heat to begin with. Even for someone who's not a seasoned chili head, you get that initial flavor first. They may question their decisions afterwards, but they get that initial flavor first. But someone who really likes spicy stuff, I mean, that's really important to keep that flavor in there. There's, I don't find a lot of sense in just something like I guess I won't throw names under the bus, but there's an extract sauce. I don't find sense in just plain old extract taste. So
Yep.
I like to make it taste good.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, I believe the same sauce that you're thinking of is also one that gets the most attention amongst those that are uneducated in the space. We'll put it that way. So,
Yeah,
and you know, rightfully so, it has that shock factor, which is today's society like number one desire is shock factor. How much can you wow me? How much can you shock me? And how fast can you get this done? But
how many people do you think would have guessed the name of what we're talking about in the comments?
yeah, I would probably be willing to say at least 75% of the people that actively watch and engage in the chat would probably know.
Good
So,
deal.
yeah, I definitely, uh, I, I want to say it almost feels like a rite of passage at some point through a Chili Head's journey to at least have tried it. But at the same time, I don't wish that upon anyone. So,
Yeah,
it's a
you know,
conflicting feeling.
early on in my like really super hot journey, so beyond the habanero, we had a Christmas exchange, and so it was like a what's your heat range that you like, and do you have any specific ideas or requests? And silly old me asked for, oh, what was it? It was an extract anyway. It was like 357 or Colt 45 or something like that. One of the higher,
Hmm.
like either 4.4 million or something like that extract. And I mean, I had fun with it for the season. I still have a dropper bottle of it somewhere, the sludge afterwards, but don't use it often anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. There used to be a restaurant that was right behind, I guess like what, two or three streets back. There's a bit of a shopping strip area. And there used to be an Asian restaurant there that they would make their challenge with it. And then they would make it, it would be okay. They would actually like balance out the flavor, make it not unbearable, but you could always still taste it. And yeah, they would just kind of be a little bit annoyed whenever I'd show up with pepper powder or some fresh pods to eat with that challenge plate. So always fun times.
I'm always well. I can't eat much of the sugary stuff any longer, but I used to be always on a journey to find hot, spicy Thai or Chinese food, and I could never find a good hot one. I mean, just the areas that I live, they're a little smaller, so it's not large metropolitan areas. So, one, I said, make it as hot as you can possibly make it, please. And it just came out. It was probably two-thirds of those dried red bird's
Hmm.
eye chili things. I was like, that's not hot though.
Yep. Good flavor, not hot.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I guess from that standpoint too, like obviously you have the exposure, you've been plugged in, you do all like of the growers, you do probably I'm trying to think probably the most challenges of the growers that I know that are like grower centric first, I guess if you will. And so from that aspect, we've already kind of briefly touched on your grow, but like how big of your grow area are you actually growing in? Are you doing also in ground, mostly in pots? How does that look like for you?
it's all in ground. One year I did like maybe a dozen buckets, but they didn't produce very well. So it was just more work than I thought it was worth. So I just, whether I till the soil or whether I use an auger bit to pop into it, I do one of those two. And then one of the biggest things that I try to do is I try to cover the ground with some kind of mulch. So that makes a tremendous difference in keeping moisture throughout the season, especially in the dry season. There are times that it can be really dry, yet I don't have to water because I've got a good solid layer of mulch on there. And I use different stuff for that. But it's a good size. I mean, it's probably 4 times as big as what it was when I started here. So it's a good sized garden in the back. I want to say last I measured, it was probably. I guess I'm not gonna guess it. I might have a note around here somewhere with measurements on it. But I squeeze about 140 plants into the space,
Okay.
usually about 3 rows. So, and I put them probably a little closer than I should. So on occasion, I do get some cross pollination that I don't intend. So when I really like a pepper and I save seeds from something that looks really good, sometimes next year it's a surprise. But it works out for quantity anyway. And as long as I again like the flavor and like the level of heat, um, the stuff that I put together, it's not necessarily like this is a 7 pot Primo project. I will have one of those this year, but normally it's just, these are my reds, these are my peaches, these are my orange, my yellow, my chocolate, my mustard. So, and I do try to pair a couple of different kinds of peppers together that work well in a sauce. And usually when I sample a pepper, if I don't know the flavor of it, if I like it, I've got an idea already of what kind of sauce this might make. So challenges though, really looking for heat, and you can add the flavor with other ingredients in that. But challenges, you're looking for heat, and then I've got my own style of incorporating how I pull that heat into the challenge product. So
Okay. Okay. Very nice. Now, as far as because I definitely want to talk about the challenges, but I know everyone's always loving and curious about the growing aspect. So, as you are, you got all your plants going, you got them in ground, you like to do the mulch for the overall coverage or something of that type. Now, are you constantly feeding, or are you one to kind of do like more lengthy gaps in between feeds?
um, So, if you're looking for advice, if the folks who are watching are looking for advice, I wouldn't take it from me in this aspect because I tend to probably overfeed in the beginning of the season and then probably overfeed again about two-thirds, three-quarters of the way through. Just I don't have the time to give to it. I don't have the necessarily in those moments anyway, because there are still busy seasons for other things in life. I don't have the necessary time to really discern how much of this should I give them. So, Alaska fish fertilizer, if it says an ounce per gallon, I've got my feeder jugs and I just pour. And then I fill it with water and then I just feed them. So it's probably giving it a lot more than what it needs, but I do think it holds on to that throughout the season. I know initially it can cause a little bit of, and fish fertilizer that doesn't usually, it's not usually the case, but if you're not careful, you can cause some fertilizer burn, some feed burn, nutrient burn, I guess is what they call it, and that'll happen to me, and I'll drop maybe 10-15% of my leaves because of that, but they'll bounce back real quick. And then I've got a good sizable plant. Last year's grow was amazing. This year, they're not that big, but we had a really weird season this year. But last year, the plants were just absolutely huge and the pods were huge.
Yeah, I mean, you as you've said, spot on. There's so much going on in your life as it is, but the amount of stuff that you're able to accomplish within that time frame is just astonishing to me because ultimately, like you got your own personal life going on. You obviously have your dedication to your church as well. You also have, the growing for competitions. You have the extra shenanigans and the thought process that goes through it, all while doing many other things in between. And it's just like I don't understand how you do it. And like hats off to you on that because, you know, that's one thing I struggle with the most is trying to make sure I have not necessarily my schedule mapped out, but more like a more efficient use of my time. I feel like I'm getting there, but with each step, it always feels like I could probably be doing this better. So,
Yeah, there are definitely seasons that have allowed a little bit more time for different things with this, and there are seasons that haven't. And I think one of the things that I hold on to is I just I do my best not to bite off more than I can chew with it. So whether it's involvement or whether it's growing or whatever the case, you really have to count the costs in it. What is this going to cost? Not just monetarily, but time wise, relationship wise, all of that. So it's definitely a fine balance at times, and sometimes like this year's grow season, you just got to apply some of that time in other areas too.
Yeah, no, definitely makes sense. It makes perfect sense there. Now, as far as obviously you got the, I guess for those that are curious, yes, you are selling peppers still, correct?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm willing to sell them. I haven't really sold a whole ton, so I'm not really on the market for it, but can be.
Okay. And I know that you'll periodically have other items pop up here and there that are or sent out as gifts most times or challenges most times to others. So if you're ever curious to see how some of these amazing challenges that Pastor Bruce is able to whip together and really hit Cap Crew with, it is absolutely amazing. It's always a fun time, and it's always great to see the different levels of like the puzzle is a perfect example. Like the level of thought that goes into this, not only in the way which you're supposed to burn, but the whole formulation of the challenge itself. I mean, above and beyond, always to the top notch detail. So I don't know, how you are able to craft and envision this, but absolute wizard with the thought process on that part.
It's pretty awesome. I've got just a a crazy amount of joys that I have as far as hobbies and that kind of thing, and they just keep on, piling on. So whether it was consuming hot stuff or whether it was growing hot stuff, then with laser engraver, 3D printer, vinyl cutting machines, that kind of thing, and that's with those three things. That's where a lot of the packaging and challenge ideas come from. Is what can I do with these things? So I've got all of this product that I've grown, that I've uh, processed. I've got these ways to incorporate it, and then I've got this packaging that I can do. So it's pretty cool. And then one idea sparks another one. So with that puzzle, it was just simply um, it was a laser engraver for the wooden pieces for the puzzle itself, and then the cutting machine for the box, obviously printing the packaging. Lately, though, I used the laser engraver to just kind of burn a little bit into some craft paper, but I also made a puzzle that's 3D printed,
Oh,
so it's not the best. And I tell you what, I'll never make another one because I had to file every little bitty piece to make it actually work properly. So this one needs a map. The wooden ones, you can put them together with a picture. No, this one needs a map. This one needs to show you exactly what the pieces look like as they go in, because it is just crazy insane to try to put together.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like these 3D printer, different pieces of art, just in general. What a lot of folks don't realize that don't have exposure with the 3D printers is that, yeah, as you're saying, there's little burrs that kind of come on the side, or maybe something had a 3D print with an elongated a piece attached to it, and you have to really be able to understand where that needs to be removed and then make it nice and smooth in order for all this to work out, whether you're doing a puzzle or just a simple printout of, a unibody piece of something, right? You just need to have that level of finesse, otherwise it just looks like an unfinished piece, and you're able to really fine tune that as well. So, very astonishing. I love the 3D printer aspect of it all too, because that's something that it seems super cool to me, but it's not something that invokes me to like want to learn more about it. It's just I think it's a very cool, unique piece of incorporating like a new, different type of style of art.
Yeah, yeah, and I definitely did that with Ramen Delight. I There's a local uh, coffee shop. They have some candies in there and stuff, and so they had some gummy ramen noodles in a little take home, a to go box, a Chinese food to go box. And I bought that thing so I could take that box apart. And I scanned it through, used my cutting machine to make my own boxes and print it off beforehand, ramen delight and that kind of thing. And then I used the 3D printer to, I just hand designed noodles and just used the 3D printer to print off a bunch of noodles. I 3D printed some bowls, chopsticks, it kind of worked its way into making a little 7-pot Primo to go on top, and some different toppings like egg and onions and that kind of thing. So that's been a pretty fun thing too. Just a nice little addition to when you have that challenge that you're going to take. It's not just a packet of powder you throw in ramen. It's this reminder of what this was, and reminder of the flavor, and reminder of the really the care that goes into it too.
Absolutely. And, as we're talking about that, it's already so I'm looking over at the wall that I'm trying to map out exactly how I want this to be done, because it's going to be a different fixed wall type of setup, which is going to have, shelving and all that stuff for things just like that. Like literally have those sitting over here from prior challenges from yours and a few others. And it's like, what better way to display that than, right now it's on a shelf that has a whole bunch of other hot sauce, but it's kind of get lost in the mix. So like having that separation super nice, because yes, those mementos are nice little ways to remember the challenge. And obviously you have the video and you can kind of reflect on it, but it's a different, it's tangible in that sense. So very fun. Now, you've done quite a few challenges. You've also created quite a few challenges. Over the time that you've been creating challenges, have you found that one just absolutely never worked? Like maybe it never even saw the light of day. Have you had one that just complete failure, or one that you've basically written off as never happening again?
I'm going to have to think about that. Um, Usually, when I get it in my mind to do it, I figure out the way to do it. Yeah, I'm going to have to think about that.
Yeah. Well, while you're thinking about that, I guess we'll make this one probably a little bit easier then. What is the one challenge that you've made that you're like, that's a home run and I don't ever plan on stopping it?
Um, Angry Bears. Angry Bears was a good one. King Bear. That one I've retired, and we could talk about both if you want. But Angry Bears, just gummy bears. It's a fairly lengthy process of making gummy bears, but incorporating tincture into them. So you've got the nice sweet flavor of the different flavors, all the flavors of the rainbow, but then that heat to it. So those have been a good one, and those that's there it is. Yeah. That's why somebody gave me that bear pin, because of the Angry Bears. But yeah, that's one that I'm going to keep on going. And used to be a cold weather item, because it gets a little too warm, they're going to melt in shipping. So, but now got a freeze dryer, and so I can just make puffy Angry Bears. But King Bear. So a King Bear is about 300 Angry Bears. So when you think about the amount of material and such to make 300 of those little bears, putting it into one mold for a king bear, um, that one is very product intensive. Takes a lot of material to make the one thing that sometimes a lot of people have wanted them. Sometimes they can get through one bite. Sometimes they just don't make it. So, like if it goes to a warmer part of the country, it comes all mangled, and boy, that's a lot of stuff that could have been used in other ways that's just ruined now, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So, but yeah, Angry Bears, because you can eat a handful or you can eat 30 to 60 as a challenge, and either way, it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, the Angry Bears is one that I remember first getting into Cap Crew and seeing, like, I guess people were still trailing off on that first round of Angry Bears. And I think I'd seen the second wave be offered up. And at the time, I had no clue what was going on. So I just kept out of it. And I was also still awaiting, I guess, my first nudge to really kind of do a more intense burn, which is what I was waiting on. Never Better Club had sent on over that Hell Hammer. I don't know if you remember that. Hold and swish for I think the first challenge was 3 minutes, and
Hmm.
then Alexandria was gonna end up matching that one from there, and then it kind of I think we did one more round of that, but Yeah, and so I missed out on that, but I saw so many people go through there, get wrecked, not finish it all, come back, try to finish the rest of it. Some of them did, some of them were hesitant. It's definitely one that invoked fear in the hearts of many other Cap crew members. So that was always funny to watch because you knew they were having fun, but you also knew that they were a little bit hesitant on the aftermath post challenge.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Now, I guess with the Angry Bears, one thing that I've always been curious about is, are you using like pre-existing gummy bears and then re-soaking them, or are you actually creating the gummy bear themselves?
I'm creating the gummy bears themselves. So usually there are a few different recipes online. This particular one was like a Haribo knockoff recipe, and honestly, I mean, it's really easy. It's just a box of Jello, an extra packet of gelatin, and half a cup of liquid. And as Angry Bears evolved into what they are today, that liquid was basically half tincture, half water. So you think about a quarter cup of tincture in 150 Angry Bears. That's quite a bit of tincture. It As they further evolved, I learned that if you evaporate down the tincture, you can use less with more water, and then they tend to last a little longer that way. With the tincture, if it's got too much of an alcohol content from the solvent part of it still, they'll kind of evaporate away into little runts. But with an evaporated tincture already, they seem to hold pretty well. Um, with the king bears, as those evolved until I retired the project, um, I was doing logos. So with that, there was a different process of just to make a like a white gummy. So it was just sugar, corn syrup, and a few other ingredients to make a white gummy. And then with the different batches, just add a little bit of food coloring to it, and then hand carve out what you need, lay it on the initial mold, and then pour the King Bear solution on top of that. It all forms together, and then you've got this logo on the front. So, like example, I did one for Johnny Scoville, and the bear had the three braid beard going on.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, yeah. So I've done different ones for different people, country flags, that kind of thing.
Okay, okay. That's super cool. I see. I need to dive back into the King Bears because that's one also I guess I missed because I had no clue that one even existed. So that's super cool to hear.
I'll find a picture maybe and post it somewhere. Facebook, when they made their change to delete everything 30 days and older, they kind of got rid of everything. But I did pull down as many of my own videos as I could. But somebody else's videos, I wouldn't be able to get those. But I do have some pictures anyway of some of the the memories of it.
Yep. Yeah, that whole Facebook thing was a little bit agitating. Actually, I was just looking at those files the other day because it spit it out in two different folders, and then like three of the files were things that I said I did not want, but somehow it still made the batch. But yeah, I was like, what do I do with all these files now that they existed for one reason? Now it's like it's kind of a little bit out of context, but it's still relevant, information. So I got to find a fun way to deal with those. But as I think most people are, at the same conundrum with the whole Facebook shutting down the live videos. So pretty wild. But,
Yeah.
uh, you know, one thing that I know that in the past there's been like more or less like fundraising drives that you've kind of put on, whether that be within certain groups, etc. Is that something that you're constantly doing, or is that just a periodic thing?
It's fairly periodic. So sometimes if I'm fundraising, like say for my kids to go on mission trip, it's as the need arises. If it's to help with somebody else's fundraising efforts, then it's just when it comes up. So it's nothing that's planned that I'm going to do this all the time. There is something that we have tried to keep going on a yearly basis, and that's the 12 days box for Christmas time. And that's not a fundraiser per se, but that's just a project that it stays on the calendar.
Yep. Yeah, well, that part is what I was wanting to make sure everyone's aware. So if they are following along and they are wanting to keep plugged in with what you have going on, then ultimately, keeping in mind that whenever these fundraising opportunities come up, you've had some amazing things. I've heard, phenomenal rants and raves about your spicy pretzels. So, those are definitely a hot
Really yummy.
topic. And I guess how did that get started? Did you just decide I'm going to start? Like, do you make these all completely from scratch and go through that process? How does that navigate those?
Yeah, so I've made soft pretzels for years upon years now, and I initially found a recipe from Alton Brown. So that's mainly the base recipe that I use, and I add a few things to it. But so I've made those regular for myself and my family for a long time. And anytime I make spicy pretzels, I have to make sure that I make a batch for them as well, a regular batch for them. But how that started was it was gifts, and so there were like maybe 5 releases before I actually really dialed it in. So the first release started off with just adding a little bit of dried pepper flakes to the top, and that was okay. I mean, it had a little bit of spice to it. Um, by uh, by version 3.0 is what I'll call it, there were ingredients incorporated into the dough, and that had a very unfortunate byproduct, and that was a 2 to 3 hour delayed capsaicin cramps in the stomach. So it was a nice burn up front, but oh boy, it was rough that afternoon for folks. So I wanted to make sure I changed that. Then I started working tincture into the egg wash. And that, I mean, that was it right there. That was what the spicy pretzels became. It was tincture in the egg wash, and then pepper mash mixed in with that egg wash, and just painted on before baking. And that's the spicy pretzel of today. Version 4 was only for a select few. It was a different show, and it had capsaicin suspension in the dough and on the egg wash. So that was a rough one that people they wanted it hot. So that's what I did. But that's the only place that one ever went to. But from then on, it was tincture in the egg wash. And sometimes, if it's a hotter tincture, it's a hotter mouth burn. But most of the time, as long as people didn't, just eat it as a meal, as long as they had something else to keep that company in the tummy, they were good. But sometimes it would give a really significant mouth burn. Sometimes it'd just be a really good chili head snack.
Yep. No, I've always seen those. I do enjoy soft pretzels, but it's been so that used to be a very common occurrence. Whenever before me and my wife had our daughters, we would always go out and we would get. I love those like charcuterie boards, but like more towards like a German Bavarian style, where it's like the big pretzels with the spicy pub mustard, and then the salami slices and all the things. Like the rest of the charcuterie board's kind of pretty normal, but adding that extra addition, and sometimes there'd be like a spicy cheese dip with it. Those would always be so great. So I can only imagine how amazing that would end up being as a nice chili head snack, as you're saying, and being able to just appreciate food and create some fun possibilities of like a spicy breakfast sandwich with that.
Yeah, I have made some into pretzel buns, so I've used a lot of those in hamburgers and made them elongated for hot dogs, and I've even stuffed them as pretzel rods with another person's spicy smoked cheese.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's a very good pairing like that. But since it's been the last year and a half or so, I haven't really been able to eat too many carbs. So I'm still looking for that nice keto replacement of a soft pretzel. But I do need to get back on making a regular batch here and getting them out to people.
Yeah, yeah. No, I completely respect the whole keto outlook. I did that for a little over a year and a half. The only reason why I had to stop or did stop was because my wife kept getting more or less just annoyed, I guess, if you will, seeing me make my own meal and then her and the kids a whole separate no, different meal. And
Yeah.
it was like, sure, there is double the work there, but I loved it. I absolutely enjoyed that. And that's kind of what helped fuel me into being able to handle longer period fasts slash one meal a day slash I think that's what helped me navigate and better understand that I just handle spice better with nothing in my stomach is because I
Mm.
got used to just not eating. And then that's how I would break my fast for the day is boom, I'd start out with a spicy meal and that would be my one meal. There's nothing else to layer on there. And I would try to keep my eating window. Initially, it would be like a 2 hour window. Then I'd whittle it down to a 1 hour window to eat. And then it would be 15 minutes max to get myself to eat. And so I'd just boom, 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 be done. And then back to just starting my next fast.
Wow. Yeah. See, that doesn't work for me. Not spicy stuff on empty. I just something about my stomach just does not appreciate that one little bit.
Yeah, I wish I knew why, but like literally, if I eat anything, it's a my body just wants to retain it so much more, which then causes more agony later on. I mean, perfect example, and I've mentioned it quite a few times, is the oh gosh, what is that? The Pizza Extreme from Wonka.
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
ate that for lunch, my only meal of the day, and I ate that at 11, and then by 5:30, 5:45, I'm feeling that gut punch finally. And I'm driving down the road trying to get my kids going, oh, actually, I had just picked them up and they got in the truck and I could hear them like fighting and arguing in my ears. And I was like, no, this is causing the cap cramps to come on right now. So
Yeah.
I had to have them calm down. I pulled over to the side. I had to just breathe through it for about 10 minutes and then we took off.
Oh man. Yeah, I do not like cramps while driving.
Oh, it, you know, I also do not, but I have learned by way of participating in so many shenanigans in such a short period of time when I first got into Cap Crew to keep a leak-proof Fabri- specifically, I try to do the Febreze scented trash bag, and I keep that in my side door pocket in case I ever do any crazy shenanigans. And for some reason, while I'm driving, I feel like I can't hold it. I will boot in that thing if I have to. I haven't had to use it yet, but it's always at the ready.
Yeah.
But
That's good. Yeah, that's a direction I don't like to take things to, but when you need something like that, you need something like that. So,
yeah. Well, which that came in handy because my two youngest are just now finding out what car sickness is because they're
yeah.
finally at that age where it's like rocking around in the car and watching your stuff is gonna show its wear. And so my youngest daughter actually used that trash bag the other day because she didn't want to hear it. She didn't want to hear it out. She just kept chugging her apple juice and watching her Kindle, and she ended up saying, "I don't feel good." It's like,
So and I assume they still make them, but through the camping world, as little porta potty type stuff has evolved, they now have like a bucket with a special bag, and there's a
oh,
powder in that bag that solidifies liquids. So that's something that we used to carry when we had a lot of travel with the kids. We would have we would have one of those bags, and then if they had to, then pretty soon it would be kind of a solid thing so it wouldn't be sloshy, and then you could throw it away as solid. So keep that in mind if you still have kids that get car sick. Camping section, one of those gray bags
okay.
for the restroom buckets. Yeah.
That's super helpful to know. I had no clue about that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that was the main reason why I started carrying, which I got two in here for normal trash in the studio. But same bags. I mean, I just use them for everything. But yeah, I'll have to check those out. That sounds like a better option for them, at least, to be able to still be, I guess, not worrying about making a mess or having an issue. So, okay.
Really handy on the road. Yeah. And what an odd place to go to in a conversation, right?
Well, hey, it is what it is. It's this is Chiliad talk. This is talking life tips, how to better navigate the waters that are just burning on the go. But I do have a very fun game plan. So let's go ahead and jump on over to that, and then I think that will also continue on this here conversation.
All right.
All right, so here we go. We have keep 5, cut 5. Well, this edition is all towards you. So, up first, here's the way it goes. There's 10 images on screen. Each image has its own number. This is greatly beneficial for those that are just audio only listening, so I will list them off as we go. So, up first, number 1 is the 7-pot Primo. Number 2, that is a Big Mustard Mama. And then number 3 is tinctures, what that's supposed to represent. Number 4, that's the soft pretzel. Number 5 is, well, this is pepper, salt, so like any kind of capsaicin spice salts. Number 6 is gummy bears. Number 7 is a chocolate douglas. Number 8 is to represent pepper powder. Number 9 is honey. And number 10 is the dreaded extract.
Okay. So I'm keeping 5 and getting rid of 5. Do we have to go in order with this, or?
Yeah, so the best way that this works is if you start with a keep, then the next one is a cut, and then you alternate, or start with a cut and then do a keep, however you want to go.
Right. All right. Well, we're keeping the 7-pot Primo, getting rid of the Big Mustard Mama.
Okay.
I like mustards. I just don't know that I don't know that I like that one.
All right.
We are tincture is so rough on me. We're getting rid of tincture.
All right.
Although, I mean, I still need it for my project, so I can't get rid of it that way. So now, I mean, is that something that so I won't have, or so I can't use?
Well,
What's the
this is just however you want to put. Sometimes I will frame the criteria, so I will say that. But this one here, I'm letting you have free reign. This could be you crafting a challenge. This could be you selecting your favorites. However you want to navigate these waters, you can go
Okay,
ahead and do, and
I
then
will
we can just
do
talk about that.
what I enjoy. I'll do what I enjoy, because I do use tincture in a lot of stuff, a lot of the challenges. So
Okay.
get rid of that for something that I ingest myself, because it hurts really bad and really fast. Got to keep the pretzel, and I'm going to keep looking for a way to be able to eat one. Um, I got to get rid of something. I better get rid of the spicy salt,
Okay.
although I do like it. Got to keep the gummy bears. I have found a way to make sugar-free gummy bears, so that's helpful.
Very nice.
Um, got to keep the chocolate douglas, because one of my favorite peppers is a chocolate douglas reaper. Makes just amazing fresh and amazing in different products.
Very
Um,
nice.
hmm.
This is where it gets hard.
Yeah. So we got one, two, three. Oh, I've kept 4 already, and I've got 3 to get. I'm going to have to get rid of all 3. Um, so the powder versus the salt. I can't have the honey. We can definitely put on a get rid of on the honey.
Okay. So you got extract and you got pepper powder remaining.
Yeah, we'll let that extract go.
Simple enough. I always trickle in the extract periodically just as a quick, easy throwaway.
Right.
But
That's
I've
right.
had 2 people catch me off guard and they're like, no, I actually really like extract. And I'm like, okay.
So when I make my own extract, that tastes a lot better than the stuff that they make with like acetone and that. So it's not so metallic when you evaporate your own down. So I do appreciate that. But as far as like this list, if this is what I would have to work with, I could things would change if it was about products though. But as
Yep.
far as enjoying to ingest, there it is.
All right. Well, there we go. We have a keep on the 7-pot Primo, the soft pretzel, the gummy bears, the 7-pot douglas, And then we have the pepper powder winning. That is the keep 5, cut 5. Up. Well, I guess from there, it's really just the nugget of knowledge. This is greatly beneficial for those that are just maybe like let's say curious about experimenting. Maybe they've been growing for a while and now they kind of like, oh, what do I do with all these peppers? What would be your advice to those individuals that are kind of trying to figure out how to utilize their yield?
Wow. So, if you can find a way to store it, store it. If you can't use it fresh, store it. Most people dehydrate, so clean them, cut them in half, and make sure you don't have any bad peppers that you're trying to dehydrate. So that's one reason to cut them in half. The other is if you try to dehydrate a solid whole pepper, it takes a long time. If you dehydrate, don't do it in living spaces. You will not have happy people around you. Find a vented room in the basement or in the garage or something that you can dehydrate that's not going to mace the family out. If you can, so I've got dehydrated stuff. This year I got a freeze dryer, so I'm freeze drying a lot. And what's nice about the freeze dryer is it's a vacuum. It's a vacuum pump, so you don't smell it as it's drying. It's all encased, and then it's kind of locked into liquid and then drained afterwards, so it doesn't mace out the house when you do it. I also, before the freeze dryer, I process it down into a mash, and then I process it through a water bath. So any of those methods or you can freeze it if you've got freezer room. So whatever you do, store it. Don't let it go bad. And then you can think about what you might want to do with those. So whether it's a sauce, whether it's drying it out for seasonings or spicy salts, whether it's about making the powder to make a tincture, so many different ways you can use it, but you can't use it if it goes bad. So if you're growing and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with this huge yield, try to put some away. Otherwise, if you're able to, show some generosity for those who can't grow. Show some generosity for those who don't have the space to grow. If you've got some contacts that all they can get is a box that they buy from somebody, if you've got the ability, send them something, and it'll make their day. It'll make their season. So that would be my nugget of wisdom in the way that you grow and what you do with what you grow.
Very well said. And something that you had mentioned that I completely forgot to ask. So want to hit this real quick, which is as you are doing the freeze drying of these peppers, how does it break up? Does it go into a more fine powder or does it become more flakes?
Well, I wish I had a glove, but I don't. I'll just do it in this napkin. So when it's entirely fresh, it'll break into just a complete powder. These
Okay.
ones, these are last year's, so it's kind of flaked a little bit. If I had put some more like silica packets in there, they probably would have. This one would have stayed a lot more dry. But fresh out of the freeze dryer, they crush into a powder just like that. Um, that would be one thing to watch out for is when you do make powder out of freeze dried peppers, it's going to be airborne. So be careful.
Yeah, which is what sparked the idea how potentially bad that could go if you had a fresh one like that and say it was staged in a pepper comp and then you're taking a bite and it just boom like aerosols in your mouth with this nice fine powder. It's going to coat everything. It's going to be a nice push, but if you're not expecting it, it's not going to react the same way as a dehydrated one where it's going to like flake into giant shards, if you will, and feel like glass.
Yeah, yeah, or even some dehydrated ones. Once they've been sitting out, they're just going to kind of get a little chewy to them too, and that would be a problem with using one of these in like a pepper eating contest, unless each one is individually sealed in mylar with a silica packet. It's probably going to pick in whatever humidity is in the air while you're waiting to get to that particular round. So
Hmm.
it's now going to become fairly soft. These things bounce back, and they're sliceable when they bounce back. Just throw them in just room temperature water. Within just a few minutes, they are like you just took them out of the freezer.
Well, I almost forgot about the peppers. So, do you want to do a pepper while we get ready to do the hot seat nomination?
Sure, sure. That looks like a Taj Mahal
Yep.
minion is what this one was. So Brian Townsend is the he's the one that developed the Taj Mahals, and they're just amazing peppers. Usually, hopefully, these ones are ripe.
So beautiful. Here, I'm going to take a picture of it too so that everyone can take a look at what we're about to eat whenever this goes live. All right, got a picture there. Beautiful. I'm just going to go straight in it because my knife's way over on the across the other side. Cheers. So as we choose this up, nice, fruity, citrusy, a little bit of sweetness. This will also give us a moment to be able to reflect on this. So, the next part here is the hot seat nomination. This is someone that you think would make a great guest for the show.
I have two in mind for two different reasons. By the way, that's a jar of Taj Mahal right there. Just waiting
Very
for a
nice.
project to come to my mind. Two nominations for two different reasons. So I would think that Daniel Heil would be a good person in the hot seat. He is a collaborator with several different projects over the years. He's able to spark some really good thoughts and ideas and generosity between folks, and so I think he's got a lot of knowledge for various sauces and various um, ways that we use our grow and that kind of thing, and just the chili community itself. Jason Larez would be the other one. Larez, maybe. Jaws. So, grimy sauce, Jaws realm. What a great artist with his craft and sauce, his seasonings, his music, his art. So many ways this guy is talented. Just another aspect of the chili community that that I think would go amazing on the show. Either one of these two, I think, would be great. As would
Absolutely.
a lot of them, but I know you've had a lot of folks on too.
Yeah, yeah. Jaws definitely would love to have him back on. He's been on. It's been an absolute pleasure. But love to have him back on. Daniel, I'll definitely be reaching out, finding a time to have you on the podcast. Thank you again for those nominations. That actually that helps out tremendously, and so thank you so much.
Yeah, you
Now,
bet. How'd you like the Taj Mahal?
oh, I love it. It's got a nice back of the mouth burn, really more of a sting, kind of like a habanero in that sense, but a deeper burn, really residing towards the back of the throat. So as where like a habanero isn't going to hit the back of the throat, this one does. It just barely embroaches on that. So nice
Yeah,
burn, clean, nice, citrusy, little bit of sweetness under it. So all for it.
awesome.
But the last part here is where can everyone find you? How can they find you? And if you have anything you want to let those that are watching and listening know.
Well, so you can find me through Facebook or Instagram. I don't use Instagram very often. I don't use X very often, but Facebook is Pastor Bruce Smith. So facebook.com/Pastor Bruce Smith will take you right to me. Instagram is, if there's an at sign before it, at Pastor Bruce Smith. That's my Instagram. And then X is at Rev Bruce Smith because I couldn't use Pastor Bruce Smith. Somebody else had it. So, and I don't use either of those two very often, but I do have them. But yeah, Facebook is right there. Um, I think keep enjoying doing what you do, as far as whether you enjoy consuming, whether you enjoy creating, whether you enjoy growing. Keep doing it, and share some way with someone else some of that joy.
Absolutely. Very well said. Thank you so much. Absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. Would love to have you back on. There's still so much more we can dive into.
Yeah.
And I think there's some fun ways that we can kind of incorporate a slightly larger group setting to be able to kind of have some on-air shenanigans planned for the future. So
Yeah.
maybe we can have that one arranged as well.
Sounds good.
Bruce, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on here. If you would like to keep up with Bruce, I have all the links down below for him. If you are wanting to check out some of the shenanigans that are in Cap Crew, I will have the link down below for Cap Crew as well, so you can get plugged in all those fun ways. Also, if you are looking to sponsor the podcast, highly recommend checking out via social or reaching out on the website to get that conversation started. Shout out for our current sponsors, podvision.io. If you're looking to grow your brand, start your brand, you've hit a bump in the road, you're trying to figure things out, highly recommend checking out podvision.io for all those needs, as well as webdx.one. Maybe you have an online site, maybe you had a guy at one point and you lost contact with him, maybe you never got around to building one. Highly recommend checking out webdx.one for all of those needs, as well as they make it simple, painless, and easy. Best of all, you get to focus on what you do best while they get you looking great online. I'm Brandon Swear, and from everything from the world of hot, this has been The Swear Word.